Introduction. The Boston Tea Party, one of the most significant events in American history, is often remembered as a bold act of defiance against British rule. But what really happened on that fateful night in December 1773? Was it just a protest against taxes, or was there more to the story? In this video, we'll uncover the facts behind the Boston Tea Party, explore the motivations of the colonists, and examine how this pivotal moment in history sparked a chain of events that led to the American Revolution. Let's dive into the untold story of the Boston Tea Party. The background: tensions between the colonists and Britain. By the time the Boston Tea Party took place in 1773, tensions between the American colonies and Great Britain had been simmering for years. The British government had imposed a series of taxes on the colonists, including the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act, to help pay off debts incurred during the French and Indian War. These taxes were met with widespread resistance, as the colonists had no representation in the British Parliament, and felt they should not be taxed without their consent. In 1773, the British government passed the Tea Act, which was designed to help the struggling British East India Company by allowing it to sell surplus tea directly to the American colonies, bypassing colonial merchants. The Tea Act effectively gave the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in the colonies, and it allowed the company to sell tea at a lower price, undercutting local merchants and enraging colonists. The Tea Act was seen as another example of Britain overstepping its authority and imposing unfair economic policies on the colonies. The colonists viewed this as a direct challenge to their rights, and the stage was set for a dramatic act of rebellion: the formation of the Sons of Liberty. To resist British control, many colonists formed groups like the Sons of Liberty, a secret organization dedicated to protesting British policies. Led by influential figures such as Samuel Adams, the Sons of Liberty played a central role in organizing resistance to British taxation and advocating for colonial rights. They were the driving force behind many protests, including the Boston Tea Party. The group was committed to direct action, and when they learned that tea ships were scheduled to arrive in Boston Harbor, they saw an opportunity to make a statement. They believed that the tea would be a symbol of British tyranny and an unacceptable imposition on the colonies. The Sons of Liberty began to plan their response, an act that would not only challenge British authority, but also unite the colonists in their fight for freedom. The night of the Boston Tea Party. On the night of December 16, 1773, the Boston Tea Party took place. 3 British ships, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver, had arrived in Boston Harbor carrying over 300 chests of tea. The ships were owned by the British East India Company, and the tea was meant to be sold to the colonists under the newly imposed Tea Act. As the ships docked in the harbor, the Sons of Liberty gathered in secrecy. Disguised as Mohawk Native Americans to conceal their identities, they boarded the ships under the cover of darkness. In total, about 100 men took part in the protest. They worked quickly and efficiently, tossing 342 chests of tea into the harbor, a valuable cargo worth approximately $10,000. This bold act of defiance was intended to send a clear message to the British government: the colonists would not stand idly by while their rights were being violated. The destruction of the tea was a direct challenge to British authority, and the protesters knew that their actions would have consequences. The aftermath. Britain's response. The British government was furious when it learned of the Boston Tea Party. King George and his ministers saw the destruction of the tea as an act of open rebellion. In retaliation, the British government passed a series of punitive measures known as the Coercive Acts, or Intolerable Acts, in 1774. These laws were designed to punish Massachusetts and quell the growing unrest in the colonies. The Coercive Acts included the closure of Boston Harbor until the destroyed tea was paid for, the dissolution of the Massachusetts colonial government, and the imposition of martial law in the colony. These harsh measures further alienated the colonists and fueled resentment toward Britain. Rather than silencing the colonists, the Intolerable Acts only strengthened their resolve. In response to these acts, the First Continental Congress was convened in Philadelphia in September 1774. Representatives from all 13 colonies met to coordinate a unified response to Britain's actions. The colonies began to take steps toward independence, setting the stage for the Revolutionary War. The legacy of the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party had far-reaching consequences. While it was a relatively small event in terms of the number of people involved, its impact on American history was enormous. The event helped unite the colonies against a common enemy, the British government, and set the stage for the American Revolution. The message was clear: the colonists would no longer tolerate British interference in their lives. The Boston Tea Party also became a symbol of American resistance and the fight for freedom. It demonstrated the power of direct action and the willingness of the colonists to stand up for their rights, even at great personal risk. Today, the Boston Tea Party is remembered as one of the defining moments in the history of the United States. Conclusion: the Boston Tea Party was much more than just a protest against attacks on tea. It was a statement of resistance, a challenge to British authority, and a defining moment in the fight for American independence. The bravery of the men who participated in this act of defiance helped ignite a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the birth of a new nation. The Boston Tea Party remains a powerful symbol of the American spirit, a reminder that sometimes standing up for what is right requires taking bold and decisive action. As we look back on this historic event, we are reminded of the sacrifices made by those who fought for freedom and the lasting impact of their actions on the course of American history. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Boston Tea Party and its legacy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible stories from American history.